Hey guys, I'm getting ready to chop up an onion, and if you guys are like me and my family, we don't like really big diced onions. We like tiny, tiny onions. So I wanted to give you a quick little video on how I dice onions. It may be a little bit more complex than what other folks do, but this is just the way I've done it for years. I learned this method from a coworker of mine. She was actually my boss years and years ago, and we were making avocado dip, and she was going to put onions in it, and I said, ooh, I don't really care for onions, and she says, well, I'll make them really tiny, and she showed me how she did it, and it was really amazing. So this is what she did. Peel your onion, and then you're going to make several little slices along the top of the onion as so, and just make them pretty tiny, and then turn it so you're kind of doing like a checkerboard like this. And then you just simply go really tiny and just cut them all off, just like that. So you can see how tiny those are, and if they're still a little bit too big, then you can either make some additional cuts or just come in here and chop them up just a hair more, which is usually what I wind up doing. So I'm making homemade stroganoff today, and I'm gonna saute some onions to put in it. And so I just wanted to show you how I mince my onion. So there you go, nice and tiny diced onions. So when they cook, they'll cook down and get even smaller than that. So right now I'm cutting up a roast. It's probably about, I'm going to say 2.5 to 3 pounds. And I want to cut it into strips. So I cut it long ways first. I halved it basically long ways. And now I'm cutting off some thin steaks. And then I'm going to go back and make those steaks into strips. So let me turn this around. I have my thin steaks here, and now I'm just going to cut these into strips. We like our strips pretty thin, so as you can see, they're pretty thin here. And as they cook, they'll cook down. They'll get even thinner. Some of them may even be bite-sized, but that's okay as long as they're tender. That's the main goal of stroganoff, tender strips of chuck roast. I've got my meat cut up, and I'm going to sear the meat, and I'm actually using avocado oil. This is a high smoke point oil. It's really good for frying. So I'm going to basically fry my meat, and then I'm going to add it over to my stock pot where I'm going to cook everything. So this should be, you can hear that start frying. So I'm going to add these in here. And I have my stove on high because I want this to just sear fast and good. I'm not going to stack the meat because I want to get both sides seared. Let that cook for just a minute. So in my stock pot, I'm going to add some cream of chicken and mushroom soup. Best friend, she tells me you don't have to scrape out the aluminum in the can. I like to get every little last drop of that can. I pay for it, so I want it out. And then I'm going to use some cream of mushroom. So I like to mix it. And now I'm going to get 1 can of water, and I'm going to pour that in here too. And then I'm just going to mix it around. That's why I have an apron on, because everything always splatters. And I'm going to turn this stove on about medium. I'm going to mix these soups in here real good. We've got company coming over this evening, so I thought, what a great meal to make. We just make some stroganoff. A little bit of stroganoff goes a long way. And my husband loves stroganoff. As long as the meat is tender, That's searing up real nicely. We're going to flip those over. I guess you're basically cooking it if you really want to think about it that way. You're cooking the meat initially, and of course it's going to cook in the pot for, oh, I'll probably cook it an hour, maybe longer, because I want to get it nice and tender. Sometimes I use my pressure cooker. I also like doing stroganoff in the pressure cooker. The pressure cooker definitely tenderizes the meat, for those of you that use a pressure cooker. Okay, so I sliced up some mushrooms. I sauteed the onions that I had diced. I added meat that I cooked to the cream of mushroom soup. I actually added an extra can of the soup as well as an extra can of water because I wanted this to cook really well. So as you can see, I've got the meat, sliced mushrooms, there's the diced onions are in here, and I'm just letting this cook down. That's going to tenderize the meat. And then I like to cook egg noodles and add the egg noodles to the mixture, and then that is my take on homemade stroganoff. I will post the recipe, and if you have any questions, just let me know.